Hi everyone. Do you wonder how to get 7 job offers, including from McKinsey and Bain? In today's video, you will learn how Juliana managed to gain 7 job offers, why she chose Bain, and much more. And by the way, if you are preparing for your interviews with Bain or any other consulting firms, check my website careerandconsulting.com. But now, let's have a chat with Juliana. Okay, so hi Juliana, thank you very much for being here, for accepting to do this interview. To begin with, maybe can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you as well for the invitation. I think, first of all, that it's a very interesting initiative that you have here. So a little bit about myself. I'm Juliana. I'm originally from Brazil. And since 2017, I am living in Europe. So I come to do my MBA at HEC Paris. And then I decided to stay. So during HEC, I did like an MBA internship in Germany, then post my MBA at HEC, I got an offer from Bain in Brussels, so I moved there. And now, more recently, I moved to Amsterdam, where I'm joining Kraft Heinz as head of category and trade marketing for distribution and exports. So this is a little bit about myself in a nutshell.
Okay. I think you are a little bit modest because if I remember well, you got multiple offers actually.
Yes, that's true. Like I accepted Bain, but I worked hard, and I also got lucky that after finishing my MBA, I actually have like 7 offers to choose from. Yeah, and being like a two from the top consultants like McKinsey and Bain, so it was a difficult decision at the time.
But a good position. But a good position to be.
Exactly, very good indeed.
Very good. Okay, so I propose to start this interview by talking about the job interview preparation, maybe first.
Mhm.
Uh, do you have any advice, like general advice for candidates who are starting their preparation, or maybe candidates who are already quite advanced in the preparation? How to succeed? How to pass the interviews?
Mm. Well, I think there are 2 points from my point of view. I think the first one is a little bit of know yourself, and the second one is really take it seriously and prepare. I cannot stress enough how important it is to prepare. Really, really, really very important, because especially in consulting, we always talk about like the fit part and also the case part. The truth is that 80% of your success, like even more, it's relying on the interview case, right? So I never heard actually a case where you didn't pass because of the fit. It's always kind of, I like it a lot, the candidate, but he didn't really did that well in the interview. So it's very, very, very important that you prepare. So for me, just like these 2 parts. And then the first one about knowing a little bit about yourself. So you mentioned before me getting many offers, but I think it's also about how you want to strategize your application process, right? Because I had friends when I was finishing the MBA that were very like focused in only one consulting. Like for instance, they wanted McKinsey, and then they were only preparing and doing everything to pass like McKinsey interview, while I adopted another strategy. In a sense, I am very anxious by nature, and I was super afraid of finishing my MBA and had nothing, had like no offer, and having nowhere to go. Like I'm Brazilian, like reais versus euros. I needed to start to pay back my MBA. So I wanted to ensure that I would have choice, and I would have like good choices. So my strategy was always like to try to apply to all the positions that I believed made a fit with me. And by doing that, I saw this as an opportunity actually to train, but also to get to know a little bit of what is available. Because if you don't try, if you don't speak to people, you don't know exactly what is available, what is your value. So I always went to every interview like this is an opportunity for me to learn about something new, to learn about like another company, and to train as well. So I actually almost did like a pyramid strategy for my applications, where I started first to apply for the companies and for the consultings I believe that I had a bigger opportunity to pass. And then I led the MBBs for the last. Because by doing that, you start to advance. Of course, you prepare. I'm going to talk a little about this in a second, but you start to you start to advance, and then you start to gain confidence. That is very important. So when you go like to BCG, Bain, McKinsey, you already passed all their like process. You luckily already have like some offers, so you can go much more confident and feeling much better about yourself because you already had something very nice to choose from, so you are more relaxed. So this is what I did for myself that was successful, and if I was to do it again, I really advise, if you don't do that, if you do something else, it's very important that you think about how you want to manage your anxiety and your stress, right? Because everybody wants you to succeed, to land like an offer at McKinsey or Bain, but if this does not happen, then so what is your plan B? So I prefer to have it very safe for me. So this is what I did in terms of strategy, and this is how I got the 7 offers that I was telling you before. And thanks God, like I could select among like very, very interesting. And even if I didn't got like things like the offer from McKinsey and Bain, I actually had some other offers that were quite nice, and I would be like joining the firms very gladly. And about like the preparation, it's very important, really important that you have like what you want to do and by what time, and prepare in advance. So this also helps with what I was thinking about the anxiety and with the confidence.
Yeah, that's a great advice. I totally agree with you. It's interviews can be very stressful, and if you have an offer, even from a plan B or plan C, I think it's much less stressful to when you interview actually with your plan A. So that's a very good advice. But that's somehow difficult to get. So how did you manage actually to do this? It means that you applied maybe 2 months before, 1 month before to your plan B, plan C companies, and then only you send your CV to your plan A?
Okay, that's a good question. So actually, to tell you the truth, I started to prepare like in August. So I finished my MBA in December, right? And I started to prepare in August. And what I say I started to prepare is really to detailing a plan for myself of what I wanted to be doing. So first things first, I started to work on my CV and in my cover letter, right? And I started to research what companies I would like to be applying and what were their timings. Because usually as well, besides the big, the top 3, because then they have like a more structured program, they goes into batches, right? The other ones are a little less structured. So this means that the sooner you apply, the better. Because if you apply, they think you have a good profile, you go, you do like the interview process and you pass, that spot is already locked for you. So you need to be like one of the first to apply. So this also helps. So I sent my CV first to these ones, and in the parallel, I started to prepare for the case, right? So here I can detail a little bit more as well what I did. But in terms of process, this is what I did. First, I did like my CV and my cover letter. I analyzed which ones, like I make a list of all the companies I wanted to apply, what were their timings, right? Almost like a timesheet. And I said, like, this I already sent, this I already could talk with someone. I did my CV and my cover letter target to this one. So this is done. Let's follow up. And we, in parallel, really preparing for the case interviews.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Again, that's a very good advice. Maybe let's talk about the case interview preparation. Any advice? What did you do?
Yes, so for that, I think that how I started is that I really started to study a little bit myself, right? So, and even for the case interview, I didn't really started preparing like 4 months in advance. I started preparing much earlier, also because we think about case interviews as something from consulting, but it's not true because more and more all industries they are doing case interviews. So by the time that I started to prepare for case interview, I was not even sure if I really wanted consulting. But even though, as it is so important, I started to prepare, and I started to prepare really in advance. So I started like studying by myself, and then I use it Case in Point, that I think it's a very, very good book. It's very basic, very didactic. I think it's a great like resource for your first step. And once you get like, let's say, the really basics, I like the framework that you usually share with us, right? Like about doing the clarifying questions, the structure. It's very important that you don't copy and paste, but take the Case in Point or any other resources. Like I want to understand what the key problem is and how I can solve that, or what are the key, let's say, buckets that I need to tackle by type of problem, so I can come to a recommendation. This is very important for you to do instead of trying to memorize the structures, because this is not nice and is always going to be very obvious that you're just copy and pasting something. And then once I got a little bit more confident, I started to prep with other people. And I also like did the preparations, let's say, during the MBA, leveraging every resource that is available. So depending on where you are, you need to evaluate what resources do you have. So I joined the consulting club. I became like a case prep, because I think that for you to teach people, you need to know yourself as well. So this helped me to be constantly like a training. And more like towards the end, I forced myself to find a buddy. I think this is really good when you find a buddy. So it needs to be someone, two things: one, that you feel some connection, right? Because it needs to be nice in the end, like everybody's stressed, so you need to enjoy doing the case. So it's nice that you have a good connection with this person, and also someone that is more or less in the same level as you are. Because if you are like more advanced and the other person is very junior, then you don't feel that you are exchanging. So it's very important that you were both in the same level. Because if you're just studying like by yourself or doing the prep lounge, then you cannot really see what is your level. While when you are doing with someone else, they're going to say, look, you didn't say this. And you were like, yeah, but in my mind, I thought about it. But if you didn't voice it over, then it's not clear. So I really advise that you do like part of your training that is individual, but also part of your training with someone else.
Mm. Yeah, I'm totally again agree with you. And at the end of the day, a case interview is like a conversation.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's okay at the beginning to do a case by yourself, but at some point you need to have this conversation to have an idea of how actually a case interview conversation is. So, and find everybody, yes, that's an advice I give to everybody. It's with the same motivation, the same level, so you can really motivate yourself, because at some point, doing 2-3 cases per day for 3 months is a bit it's a bit challenging mentally. But that's a very good point. Any other advice for the fit interview, more specifically?
Yeah. So here, I really think that it's very important that we research about the company, right? Because in the end, I have the impression that the what is very similar, regardless if it's Bain, McKinsey, strategy, and whatever. Like the what is very similar, but the how is very different. So it is important that you understand a little bit how each company wants to position themselves. So what are the keywords that they are using? Are they using more cracking the case, or like co-creation? What is behind the words that they are using? Is this company more targeting in one industry or one type of case? Like, this is important. So as well, try to talk with someone from the inside, because then they can, and especially if it's someone from the office you are trying to apply, because even among the big firms, each office has like some peculiarities. The culture is always the same, but like Bain Brussels is very strong in private equity, consumer goods. So it's important that you know this stuff, right? So try to talk with people from the inside, and really, really try to get the contact of the HR person. So how can you get it? The best way, I think, is to go to the events. So whenever they are doing like an event in your university, like go and talk to people, stay in line, be very polite. You need to call attention. You need to have like their contact, because if you already get to know them in person, if you send an email, they will likely remind you. And otherwise, try to go like through the LinkedIn. But I think it's very important that you also try to contact the HR person from the office location that you are applying to.
Yeah, yeah. It's I have two comments. Talking to someone from the company, and more specifically from the office you target, for me it's mandatory.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a professional mistake not doing this, because you are showing that if you don't do this, you are showing that you are not really interested actually in joining the company. So you cannot do this. And get the HR contact. Yes, I think it's super important. I think on LinkedIn it will be very difficult. Per my experience, very few. Actually, the response rate on LinkedIn is very low. I don't know why. So attending events to initiate a contact is super important. Sometimes you can like have a cold call to the office phone number and try to call to the HR. It might work, but it's a strong plus. Especially, I believe at that time in the COVID, getting these connections can make a huge difference to actually get invited to the interviews.
I completely agree. And like sometimes people ask me, like, should I try to contact someone from the office? Like, this is a very stupid question. Like, this is a known brain, right? This is really a known brain. This is the minimum. I completely agree with you. This is the minimum that you should try to be doing. And other than that, it's true that contacting the HR is more challenging, right? So that's why I recommend that you try to see what are the events going on. And sometimes not only the events in your university, but can be the case that there are like some other coffee chats or other case competitions that if you participate in advance, it's a big plus, because they will treat you different across the entire selective process. So try to participate in as many events like in your university or even like within the company as possible. Just look online, they are going to be posting there, and go. Like you need to do your homework, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And one last advice when you contact HR, because of course you are not alone. Like a lot of people contact this HR people. So when you contact them, actually try to give something. Try to propose your help, actually. Especially now, again, with the COVID time, I think it's difficult to organize events so try to say, okay, maybe I can help you. Maybe I can help you organize an event on campus. Maybe I can put you in contact with the right person in the career center. Try to propose something. Try to add value, like a consultant would do it, actually.
Yeah, and also like when you succeedingly contacted someone from the inside, they can always not can always, but they could help you as well. So if you contact them right, if you can create a good connection, if you show that you are interested, if you show that you have like a defeat, right, that you are trying, sometimes they can also help you connect with other people inside the office. So in this sense, there is no formula, there is no magic formula, but I think that you need to be a little bit creative about how you are going to stand out of the crowd, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk now about your experience at Bain. Maybe first, can you talk about the typical projects you worked on, how a typical week or how a typical day looks like at Bain?
So it's difficult to talk about a typical project or a typical week because it varies a lot, right? But for instance, in terms of projects, I believe that every consulting they have kind of their star methodologies or like the methodologies that are their core that are usually kind of projects. So in that case, like let's say that most of the cases they are going to be kind of aligned with these methodologies that are the core ones from the consultings. So for instance, at Bain, especially in the office I was, like we have like value creation plan projects, we have like brand acceleration that are kind of category management, agile transformation. So those were usually the projects that you could find the most because those are methodologies that are well set, that you have many partners that have the knowledge, right? Other than that, in terms of timings, usually a case is going to last between 3 to 4 months, and you're going to be working solely on that, right? And the size also varies a little bit. You are always going to find at least one partner, one manager, one or two consultant, and like 2 to 4 analysts, but it also can like varies a little bit regarding the size of the case. So really it varies a lot. It depends a little bit on what you want to do, like who you want to be working with. But it's very difficult for me to talk about like typical because it's always changing. Like I think this is actually the typical. You can expect that it's always going to be changing, or at least like every 3 or 4 months. And in terms of week, I think um, there are some routines like that you are always going to find because these are key meetings that happen every week. So for instance, at Bain, you every week is going you are going to have like an internal meeting with the partner to present how the deck is going, what are the key insights, what are the key roadblocks that the team is facing. And this is one of the most important meetings from the week, usually happens in the middle of the week because it ensures that you have like the beginning of the week to be working on that, and then the rest to be adjusting the feedbacks from the partners. You also have like meetings that are going to be kind of presenting the thermometer of how the case is going. So how people are evaluating the case. So if they think sustainability wise is good or bad, or if they could like balance a little bit more like their personal stuff during the week, that is a little bit more like on the soft skills. But to tell you the truth, the week, what's really set the paces of the week are one, our first of all, this internal meeting with the partners, because then this is very important. Any other like a key meeting that you're going to have with the important stakeholders from the clients. So these two things are going to set the pace and set everything that you do for the week basically. And other than that, it really varies regarding to the manager. So some managers, they want to go more into detail, so you're going to see that your agenda is going to be filled with more meetings because they want to make a daily check-in and a daily check-out. They want to do war rooms, they want to do a lot of stuff. Some other managers are more like, let's just meet in the beginning of the week, you tell me your priorities and you position me like by email or by a quick call, and whenever there is something really big we meet. So it really changed. I think that in the end is more like what sets the pace are the partners and the client. And other than that, you're going to be like organizing your agenda, organizing your work stream, organizing your analysis, and preparing the deck for these key meetings.
Mhm. And did you have to travel a lot from Bain office? Is it like what is the staffing model? Is it like a local staffing model? Is the European staffing model, global European staffing model? And then you have to travel across Europe to work for different clients? How does it work?
That's interesting. That's a good question because it really depends. So at Bain, at least, they try to staff first locally and then like regionally. So whenever you are staffed, it's very unlikely that you're going to be the only person from, I was Brussels office, so I will never be staffed alone as like the only person from Brussels. They will try to allocate me either with a manager or a partner, and they try to be as local as possible in the staffing. Then in terms of traveling, it really depends on the industry that you are. So for instance, at the Bain office, right, the private equity practice, you don't travel because you're just doing due diligence. It's very confidential, so you don't travel. You're always at the office. Also, telco can be a little, telco and industrials that are more like a country specific. It's unlikely that you are going to be traveling. Maybe you are like going to another city, but it's not traveling. Other than that, like consumer goods, that was like the one that I was trying to enter, then I travel a lot. So during my almost 2 years at Bain, I did cases like in Brussels, I did cases in the UK, I did cases in Italy, and I did cases in Russia. So I travel quite a lot.
Okay, that's part of the fun. I think at some point it was. I remember I love it when I had to travel. Maybe now can you tell us what did you like the most working in maybe in consulting in general or Bain more specifically, and what did you let's say like the least? Okay, like.
I think that what I like the most, it's really the knowledge. I don't know. I think that entering one of these top firms, you just feel that you are jumping in a pool of knowledge, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. You are surrounded by like a very, very smart people, brilliant partners. You have a structure that is unbelievable. It's unbelievable because then once you're in, you understand why the companies are hiring. Then you know what they can offer. It's not only the partner. The partner is only the representation of the firm at the client. You are hiring a structure, because even if the partner does not know something in specific, he is going to send an email to the resource, and within 1 hour he is going to receive like 100 messages with solutions for this issue, with different perspectives. So it's just amazing. Like I really feel that you are jumping in this amazing pool of knowledge, and you just feel that you get like many points additional in your IQ only by being among this. So probably, like, for sure, this is the thing that I like it the most. But then what I like it the best is the other side of this coin, right? Like, this does not come for free. And it is an environment that is going to be testing your limits in a daily basis. So it does not, like when they tell you that there is no comfort zone, that comfort zone does not exist in consulting, you also just understand what it means once you are in, because you are going to be pushed to your limits on a daily basis, right? Like, the expectations are very high, the bar is very high, the pace is very accelerated. So how you are going to be coping with that, right? And also realizing that your personal life is going to be put at a second level in many cases. This is something you need to realize. I'm sorry to say, like whenever they talk about like a balancing personal and professional life in consulting, you need to understand what they mean by that, because usually it really means that the professional is like it becomes first.
Yeah, definitely. It's a service business, so it's your client first, like
That's exactly.
yeah. In your opinion, what makes Bain unique compared to McKinsey and BCG?
I can talk a little bit more about Bain McKinsey. Not that I am an expert, because also what I'm going to be telling here is a little bit about my opinion, as I never worked in both, so I cannot really say for sure. But as I got the offer from both, I also talked with many people, right, to make my decision. So it's true that I have this impression that the what it's the same. So what you are doing is going to be the same regardless if it's Bain, McKinsey, and even if BCG. But I think the how differs. So talking with clients, it's very usual that the clients will say, because clients are used to work with McKinsey, Bain, BCG. So the best way you can learn how the company is positioned and how they differentiate is to hear your clients talking about you. And it's true that they usually say that when they work with Bain, they feel that there is a higher concern of Bain people to be involving the client in every step of the way. So there is one thing that Bain uses a lot, that is the co-creation. And I truly believe that this is true, because there are many meetings with the client. There are also routines with the client, like the manager is having like constant touch points with the key stakeholders to ensure that everybody is aligned. That is a huge concern, to ensure that the client is on board and the client is also buying your project. One example is that in workshops and in key presentations, whenever possible, I'm not Bain anymore, but Bain tries to make the client present. This is huge, because if the client is presenting, means that they are part of it, right? So this, I think, is quite unique. So you can really see that working hand in hand, working in collaboration, bringing the client on board is like a characteristic and is a signature of Bain. I've heard someone once saying, I'm not going to say who, but they told me that actually, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just like repeating what someone told me. So forgive me if I'm wrong. They told me that actually McKinsey will try to find the best solution, the best solution possible ever, while Bain is going to try to find the best solution for that client in that particular context. And after working at Bain, I don't know about McKinsey, but about what they said about Bain, I do think this is true.
Mm. I think Bain is renowned to deliver like tangible, actionable recommendations. I think it's really part of the DNA.
Yeah.
Try
It's a
to
huge concern for them, this, indeed.
to be very actionable. Okay, that's very interesting. Like making the client during the presentation. That's the first time I hear about this. It's a very good idea.
Yeah. It's getting bigger and bigger. So we are like, Bain is trying to push it further and further, because in the end, if you really want something to go live, it's all about people, and it's all about the implementation, right? So I
Yeah.
think this is quite powerful as well.
I think I remember. I did it once actually. One of my clients in the presentation. I remember I was super frustrated because I worked like hell on the slides, on the analysis, and the client presented and somehow get the credits.
But it's about the mindset. This is the beauty, because it's all about the mindset. From us, and when I saw a client presenting what I did, I felt so proud. Like I felt so proud that what I did and what he validated and what we discussed. Now he's presenting himself, means that he truly
Yeah,
believes this is correct. So
yeah,
it's just a different way of seeing things.
yeah, exactly. It's a good point. I have one last question for you. It's about the takeaway you got from your experience at Bain. Can you tell me the top 2, 3 things you have learned from your experience in consulting?
Yeah, I think the first thing is really that it's a business made of people, right? So for me, this is the first thing, because I remember when I entered, and also what I did, I really wanted to specialize in consumer goods, and it took me some time, to find the nice team, the nice partner, the nice setup for me to enter in consumer goods, while my first case was in industrials. And industrials was nothing like what I wanted, which was about chemicals. I had no clue at all about chemicals, but the partner was so nice. And the team was so nice. And like my case was, as a result, so nice that in the end, like if I wanted to stay like for life, probably I would be a very happy person staying in the industrial. So really here, like who you are going to be working with and what you want for your experience, it's very important that you have in mind, because the team and the partner can make a huge difference, The second point, I would say that is about like this knowledge pool that you just deep dive, that is quite nice as well. So I'm not going to be repeating that. And the third point for me that I learned is that it's important that along your journey you try to find people that you can feel supported. Like it's important that you try to find like some people, like some peers that you can share your difficulties, that you can see that you are not alone in the boat. So it starts to create a little bit of a network internally that is going to help you feel more energized and move forward. And also, I would say it's also important, a lesson learned for me is that it's important that you try to find a sponsor internally, especially if you are entering, let's say, in the middle of the pyramid as an MBA, because it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult, especially in the beginning, until you realize how far you are, and how stretched everything is. It's important that you find someone that believes in you, that saw you in action, that can coach you a little bit and get the feedback from this person. So I would say always try to get feedback as much as possible, and surround yourself of nice people that you feel that you can count on.
Yeah, great. Is there a mentorship program at Bain, like when you join Bain?
Yes, but not in the beginning. Actually, the mentorship program is something a little bit more formal that starts after you complete, like, I think 1 year. So in the beginning, it's more informal. But I would say try to find someone, and it's really like easy, because can be like your first manager, just someone that is a little bit above you, or like has a little bit more of experience, that can give you some tips and help you navigate. This can be very valuable.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Juliana. It was a very great time. A lot of very actionable advice. So thank you very much for your time. I think it will help a lot the candidates who are going to watch this video. Thank you.
You're welcome, and good luck for everybody.
Great.